take it away with the commentary team.
Well, thank you very much, and what a match to end the night with. I'm here with Sadokist, and okay, give me your predictions. What do you expect going into this one? Is it going to go all the way? Is it going to be a quick affair? How is it going to go?
Well, the interesting thing is it's been a long day of Counter-Strike. We've seen, obviously, some epic comebacks in the form of VP. Didn't always go their way, as we saw in the overtime, but awesome matches all day long regardless. And now we get the two teams who haven't played at all. These guys have been sitting around in the upper bracket waiting for everyone else to do their business, just quietly minding their business, and now they're going to jump on stage and try and perform. So we'll see who's going to come out of the gate strongest first, and I have a feeling it's going to be Na'Vi. Envy, or probably Na'Vi.
I was going to say, where am I right now?
NiP, excuse me.
What day is this?
I have a feeling it's going to be NiP because it seems like EnVyUs seem to have that slow start lately about them, and I know sitting up in the warm-up room, all of the NiP players were on the computers. All 5 were in use. All 5 players were down warming up, whereas EnVyUs weren't. They were actually just relaxed about it. NBK said, I'd rather just go into it chilled out and we can come on as a team. That way we don't get too worked up if things don't go our way at the start. But from that reason, maybe we do start off with, of course, it is going to be Cash. It looks like we're on to now, so our analysts didn't get the correct information, but now we are on Cash, and or at least the server is for now. I have a feeling NiP is going to take map 1 for that reason, but I think it's going to be 2-1, and I think it's actually still going to be NiP.
I honestly have no idea how to predict how things are going to go, because it does seem like Alu is providing very interesting results recently, and he seems to be getting stronger and stronger on the lineup. And as Thorin mentioned, despite Alu playing increasingly well, they're not necessarily winning all the matches since they've been playing with him. And I wonder if I mean, it's not necessarily going to be, of course, the kind of Kenny S story where there's maybe too much focus on Kenny S and too much reliance on him or anything like that, or too much freedom for him that eventually kind of hurts the bigger picture of the entire team. I don't think it's like that, but it is an interesting dynamic, and we don't yet fully know what the end of that story is really going to look like with Alu, the Alugator. But it was quite funny, as you said, with MBK. We saw him in the player area. I
think he was having more fun on Twitter than he was.
Yeah, he was just sitting there, like his eyes just like looking very tired. And I said to him, "Do you need me to like get a bucket of water and throw it over your head or something?" And he was like, "Nah, man, I'm just chill. I just want to chill. Everyone else is like being all intense, but this is how we do it. We just relax."
EnVyUs new game plan said we sleep until the start of the match and then we wake up and go.
Gerrit said to me he slept for 18 hours today, so I'm sure that he's going to be raring to go. He definitely looked on point. You can see him on the camera earlier. He definitely looked actually really, really alert, really awake, ready for this final. This is their bread and butter. They've got so much experience in these kinds of situations. You do have to wonder sometimes how much fatigue can play into it, but when you have teams of this caliber, I think you've got to throw that out the window, because these guys have, again, that experience that you don't really have to worry about that sort of thing. This is their profession. They've been doing it a long time. And as far as predictions goes for me, I feel like I should make one, even though it's really hard.
It's only fair. You asked me to do it. You threw me under the bus, so you might as well jump.
I won't be like James. He's like, "What do you think, Dan?" And then I'll say my prediction. And I ask him back, and he's like, "Well, I think this for about 5 minutes, and then there's no prediction at the end." So I'm going to say that I actually think it's going to be a 2-1. I think that NiP are going to lose Cash to EnVyUs. I think we're going to go all the way to the last map, because NiP, every time I bet against them on Inferno, I'm always wrong. So I'm going with that. The NiP Magic. This is the start of when we start to see NiP Magic is towards the end of tournaments when they really start to get themselves going.
And I mean, that's the thing, right? And we talked about how EnVyUs might be slow out of the gate. That might play into the hands of NiP. How many times have these two teams played each other? And it seems like every time they play each other when it's not a final, NiP have the advantage because they have a way of always getting to that last game, regardless of whether or not they win it. They have this weird way about them to always get there. Whereas EnVyUs seem to only ever beat NiP when it's in the final. That's when they actually take them. Gfinity, you go back, X Games, obviously NiP took down EnVyUs going into the final. That was a semi, so that was to NiP. And then you go back to DreamHack when it was the final, and EnVyUs took that one against them. So here we are in another semi-final. Maybe NiP's going to walk away with it again.
Absolutely. It's really interesting, actually. And if get right, if you watch this VOD later, when we say NiP Magic, that's actually a huge compliment. We're talking about how the clutch factor of your team.
It's you saving face.
Yeah, I mean, well, it's an interesting one. I wonder if anyone else interprets it that way. But it's becoming a widely established idea, and it's part of the reason why people love to watch NiP play. I mean, we don't have Fnatic at this tournament, but they have this kind of like this aura of they are the villains of the scene, and they are the most consistent and essentially the best team in the world. We're going into the knife round here, so we'll have to see who starts where. So I'll end that fort, and of course, the thing with these two teams is that it doesn't really matter who starts where on a map like this. If it was something like Nuke, then maybe.
We got a 1v5.
Freiburg got this. They're all tagged apart from Shocks.
I've casted two 1v5 knives recently, always trapped, and it's all done. So
there we go.
A flawless knife round. Maybe Envy's a little more awake. Maybe I'm already screwed for my prediction.
Well, we're going to have to see if NiP are going to show us some really sick T-strats. I'm very curious how the Alu dynamic is going to work out when it comes to their kind of pick-based rounds, because of EnVy themselves are really, really good at holding on to middle and just controlling the pace. And I was talking to Happy about this the other night, and he said that there's a lot of teams that aren't very good at controlling the pace, and it's one of the most important elements at the really top level. And he actually gave the respect to Virtus Pro in that sense, and something they've been working on is like really fast middle takes on a map like Cache. It's something that they have started to bring to the table once again, and it's something that hasn't really been super present. Usually we see delayed middle takes, but it's rare that teams go for the quick middle pushes. We're not going to see that EnVyUs play T-side straight away, but something to look out for in the future. But we're jumping to the pistol between EnVyUs and NiP. This is the first match, the best of 3.
It's a fast B. Or is it? They slow down just a little bit. 3 players to mid, though, for EnVyUs. Get Right's the only one there, smoked off inside the garage. But watch out, it's all going to be Smiths on this entry. First shot going off. Can't get the connection. And it's going to be the player inside Vincent, Kiyoshima, who's going to have to fall back quickly. Is he going to make the right decision? He's still looking toward Get Right, and he actually falls off to try and get that reload as Shoxy fires away, and they cross over already, so this bomb's going to go down very quickly.
And Shox is still up there, but look at this. They're trying to get themselves up onto the flank, but EnVyUs are defending well and are pushing in. They're not being delayed as NiP are trying to go for. And there's MBK cutting a path, a bloody path through the checkers, but it's Forrest to take down 2 fast frags. Can't get the third, and that's a 2-on-2 now as they move on to the bomb site. Bomb still ticking away. Happy's going to go in, and there it is, Exist. Can he clutch this? One more player, and Shoxy will get it. He's going to win the pistol round here for EnVyUs.
And he does have a kit, which is crucial. Man, Forrest, double kill again. You've never won a pistol round until Forrest drops against NiP, and with him out of it, there you go. Shox gets the final one. Diffuse goes their way, and he was slender on time there. There wasn't a lot left. No kit, they didn't have that, so good early buy. He's going to pick up an M4 as well, right into that, as is Happy. NiP, no Tech 9's out, 1 CZ75 for Exist, that's it.
Yeah, in the past you would see that teams would say, okay, we can even go SMG, even though they planted there, we can go some SMGs, but they know that the Tech 9 threat is real. However, NiP aren't going to go for that. They are going to go back to the regular, let's save one, then go for the full buy. And so with a round like this and just a few pistols and just 1 flash from Forrest, really all they're going to be trying to do is just do a little bit of damage, get a couple kills, and then they're going to be happy. As Shox is going to play close here, gets flashed, has to respond quickly now against these pistols, and he's going to go down 1 for 1. And that is a good start for NiP, already with some damage.
Nice. So everyone down except for Alu. He's got the bomb to work with. If he can get a plant, this would be really beneficial to NiP. But he's already got Happy watching that A main, and as he peeks out, he realizes the M4 is staring him down. He'll try and get up close and take the one-on-one, but MBK doesn't care. Down he goes. So the M4s come out well, and 3 of them still up and held on to Smiths with that FAMAS. They'll only have to upgrade 1 gun for Shox.
So this 1 frag is not too bad, but of course it's not going to matter too much as NiP get their buy-in now. So the pressure is going to continue, and I'm curious to see how they are going to open up their starting round here. They don't have, obviously, a huge amount of nades, having come off that pistol loss, but they're going to go straight in. Hardcore push on middle, no messing around from NiP. And we're going to see how much damage is going to result. And look at that, just 2 players left. Spray coming in from Get Right, but the trades from Happy are real.
He couldn't hit that spray, which is not something that's normal from Get Right, but Forrest isn't done, so now he gives them back the man advantage, but Smith still has full HP against only 50 for Forrest. Much worse situation for Exist, 11, but he doesn't care. It's Smith to walk right into his crosshair. Look at that, 2-1.
I love that kind of a play from NiP there. They recognize, hey, we got the bar up really fast, we got the AKs. They're still going to have some FAMASs. You know what, those long-range picking shots, if we just go for that fast push on middle, we're going to have so many good angles. We should have the advantage, and they were able to execute there. So EnVyUs now with a lackluster buy. Kiyoshima just with a 5-7. This is going to be a tough one.
Freiburg spamming away at that mid-garage, just wants to do any damage he can. Anyone, just eat 1 bullet, that's all he asks. It would just give them that much more of an advantage as Kiyoshima pushes up in middle. waiting below the boost spot. Only a 5-7 for him because he couldn't afford much else, whereas the rest of at least got out from Osses and 2 M4s. But they'll be broken if they don't win this round. And it looks like they want to head it toward A. Smoke's going to go off, bounced off the box. Fire out toward quad, but it's a boost. Happy's up above. This should give him an easy advantage when they come around the corner. He gets the first easily. Exist comes in as well, and that's Get Right to drop. NBK comes around. That was the man that he was standing on, so he's still got a full clip, and he makes good work of it onto Forrest. And look at that, Happy. Easy kills on the last 2. It's going to be 3-1.
Wow, that was a really nice hold there. And with Happy holding so strong early on in the A site against such a fast push, NiP have to be a little bit worried. Of course, looks like we have a player dropped, so we'll have to see what that is all about. But things are shaping up well here for EnVyUs, and with such a clean round, you got to expect that the economy is going to start building. NiP spent all their cash, so things are going to get a little bit troublesome now as they give opportunities for EnVyUs to start getting some comfort, as NiP won't be able to pressure them.
It's Freiberg who's disconnected. I'm just trying to peek over my shoulder and see if there looks like there's any issues, but he's got a pretty content look on his face, and no one's really panicking, so likely software, not hardware, and hopefully he'll get back in soon. But so far, we had the early buy come out. First gun actually went to NiP, but there was still just enough economy to get out 2 more M4s and 2 FAMASs. EnVyUs come back into it, and now it's NiP immediately right back into a pistol round. It could have been brutal, I guess is the word I'm looking for EnVyUs, had they not won this force buy, because now you go to 2 rounds without a pistol for NiP, then they're ecoing, then you're up to 3 already. That's halfway there ultimately on the T side.
Absolutely.
I mean, is that enough though? Because let's talk. This is NiP, who seem to struggle CT side, and it all depends on how their CT side comes out. So the more the merrier on their T side, but 6 usually the ballpark figure on this map.
Oh yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how it works out. When it comes to these 2 teams, sometimes it's hard to use the meta too much, I find, because NiP have been starting to work really, really well on their T sides. We actually saw this against Titan when they played them first match of StarSeries 12 actually. It went to some overtimes. It was an incredible match, in fact, and NiP showed just the depth and range of plays that they have going for them on the T side. So that's clearly something they've been working on, and it's clear why they're so comfortable to actually take cash. It's becoming a bit of a strength for them. But again, EnVyUs starting to build that economy. You're going to have to start worrying about those orbs coming into play as they massacre, or you would expect to massacre, this pistol save coming in from the ninjas. So far, so good here for EnVyUs. It looks pretty clean so far.
Yoshima's inside. Checker room looking up toward the vents. Knows they're there. That nade from Shocks. In and out. Alu's down. Get Right as well. No one dropping. Came close for NBK. 5 HP at the end of the round, but he's still there. Has to buy up an M4 this time.
Now, I wonder if EnVyUs will actually just stick with the FAMAS there on, I think it was Smiths that had it, yeah. Because they could go just play super economically and just try to keep those weapons alive as long as possible. Of course, if they were to rebuy when he has a FAMAS, it's a bit of a waste, but going to have a quick take it. NiP showing that they have these fast takes going for them as well up middle. And so far, it's looking really, really good here for the Swedes as they move in.
And they committed to that mid push. Happy came all the way down the highway. Alu was already heading toward A with the bomb. There was nobody home to stop him. So even if they'd won that mid-exchange, this bomb was going to get planted regardless. But now they've got it in a 1-on-4 post-plant situation. Or rather, 4v1, I guess. As Smith sits around and tries to come in and find some exit kills with this FAMAS, because, again, he didn't buy this round. He'll be able to still afford a gun in the next.
The interesting thing for me, actually, is if NiP... of course, these fast mid-takes are not common at all in the meta game. It is actually something I was talking about EnVyUs beginning to do. So NiP taking a page from their book and trying to reshape the meta. But what's going to happen here is that NiP is slowly going to condition EnVyUs to have to throw more presence in middle. And what's going to happen is maybe NiP will say, after doing this repeatedly, hey, let's just do a really fast B or A take, trying to play against the timing where there'll be 3 guys, or maybe even 4 in some cases for EnVyUs in mid, as they counter this mid play from NiP. They're doing it again, going straight in, and it's looking quite good for them.
I mean, this could set the trend all game. If this much mid-presence is going to happen, it's utterly ridiculous. Eventually, someone's got to give up on the fight, but Kiyoshima's not going to be the man. He takes down Freiberg. That drops your bomb as well, just beyond the reach of the inner garage, and there's no smoke to cover it off. Forrest is there. He'll be able to walk out. Get Right's in cubby, so they'll recover that bomb quite easily, and It's 4-on-4. This splits your defense a little bit. Keo's the man who has to play the right position because he's going to fall back on Z and be ready to rotate either way. But they're actually heading toward B. Smiths is in a fragile spot because they're coming through vents behind him, and he doesn't see it, or does he? Turns around. Great reactions from him, but he wants more. Get Right's there. Can he get it? Get Right not able to connect the shot. That's twice now we haven't seen him connect, and Smiths isn't done. Look at them switching over to the pistol. Anything with a silencer will do.
Ali's got a huge task ahead of him. 3 players on multiple angles. Kiyoshima will finish him off. And I've got to say that I really love how NiP are taking middle so fast. And in that round, we saw a reaction from Happy. He pushed all the way around Squeaky to get an angle towards the middle, the T side of middle there at the back, just to make sure that, because they're losing middle and they can't really easily challenge it against NiP, so they have to try to find out what's going on somewhere, and Happy making those pushes will help them in discovering where exactly NiP are going. But it's risky business, and NiP, oh my goodness, NBK finds his head with the scout. That is gorgeous, and we're going to have a trade 4 versus 4
This is interesting, though. Happy's pushed up through Squeaky at long. He's getting information. As soon as he comes out, he's actually going to catch Forrest and Exist if they're not paying attention. Luckily, someone's looking that direction, but they won't have the reaction time to take down Happy. So he's got 1. He wants more. He's not even going to fall back. That makes him drop. So now they go back to 3-on-3. But the information's given that they're out there. Look at this. Actually, it's NBK going to go right back to the same spot. I don't think they'll be ready for this at all. And he's got that op that's dropped. Shoxy's also in the corner. So aggressive play from EnVyUs, and it's working on either site.
I love how proactive they're being on trying to force NiP's hand and pressure them before they can really make a move. This is exactly what you need to do against NiP style here. And Freiburg is going to be trying to make an opening, an entry with an AWP. You don't see that every day from Freiburg, but right now, that's what he's dealing with. Now, there's a player over at headshot for him to find, as they have 30 seconds left in the round, so not a huge amount of time. And Exist, here he goes. Oh, he's going to hear Smith running through connector. Smith turns around to spot him, but the spray comes in. Exist gets the kill. 20 seconds now, and that's going to allow Freiburg to sprint all the way towards A, as Smith, Exist rather, is going to go down to NBK.
This smoke is big, though, because that first shot from NBK took down Exist. It's only Freiburg, but he's not going to have time to plant the bomb. Oh, NBK! How often do you see a man miss that? Switches over to the pistol, does a little bit of damage. It's still a 2-on-1, but look at that. Freiburg comes back on him. Beautiful play up over the top, and you would have not expected that at all.
This is ridiculous right now. NBK is going to be so disappointed in himself. Shoxy has to save this. Goes over the top of the red container, and he's going to get the kill, and he's going to save NBK from a very embarrassing situation, because that should never have happened. And he gave Freiburg a chance.
By the way, how more, and it's more and more common that people are going up over top of the red box. It's such a good way to go.
Yeah,
because
it's really
you're always
hard to deal
peeking
with.
one side or the other. You think you've limited your angle by just playing with that and peeking on your own, and then all of a sudden, boom, he's above you.
It's really hard to deal with that, those switch of angles and the kind of vertical plane as well to mix in with the horizontal plane. It's really difficult, and as you say, that's often really successful. And right now, it's a 6-2 scoreline. EnVyUs leading, as NiP have to go for a save strat. Now this is going to be a bit of a set play. We're going to see them working with the smokes and trying to get a quick plant, probably towards the toxic side is usually what you'd expect out of this. There should be a smoke landing directly on that, and there it is. Now, there's lots of players here for EnVyUs. This should be a good hold for them.
Smith, though, he's the one that has to hold it. He's already dropped because Exist came right into the site and it instantly countered him. That nade from Happy does good damage, though, actually catching Exist, and NBK will also stand strong, so it's not done just yet, even though Smiths went down, and these pistols won't have the firepower to close out the round. Halu, though, again, over the top. It works twice, make it 3 times, actually. Twice last round, once this, and Happy closes it out, so looked like there was potential on the eco, not to be 7-2 now, and NiP is going to buy back into this. Do they go for a glass cannon on Forrest, though? 5,200.
This is so interesting right now, and
they don't. They go for the AK. They take the safe bet.
And NiP have been playing lots of fast rounds and putting lots of damage on EnVyUs, but every time EnVyUs are in trouble, they play proactively, they play aggressively to find out what's going on, and they keep the pressure game alive despite being the kind of innately defensive side. Look at this. Happy's going aggressive on Squeaky again.
He saw him. He actually dinked him through the wall, so we heard the dink noise, but he still got 49. Meanwhile, EnVyUs, look how aggressive they're being on this defense. They're going to catch out Exist there. At least Get Right found one before that, but we saw them push long. How many times now? 3? And again, they come for that reverse boost. EnVyUs is really trying to gain map control early on.
Now this is quite interesting here because going to have Happy AWPing in middle. And another thing he said in the conversations we had last night was we talked about how he understands how to play pace against all the different teams. Like against teams like, okay, against this team we play slow, this team we play fast, this team we mix it up. And you can see how aggressive they are hitting NiP. It's almost as if they're playing their terrorist side on the CT side, just constantly getting the pressure in. And before NiP can really react, we had a push on Squeaky. At the same time, a counter boost was coming in on middle. That's absolute madness. It's not every day you see that. And NiP now, 4 versus 3. It's all going to be on NBK who's on the side. He's got a scout. How much can you really expect from NBK in this position? Oh my god, he gets an insane shot and a tag onto Freiburg to boot. Happy is waiting. They are too distracted with NBK, and Happy will pick up. No, he doesn't pick up one. NBK's going mad. 3 kills from him there. As we have a 1-on-1. What an insane result. Get right with the bomb down, though.
But he's not looking in the right spot. He actually thinks he's over to truck side, so Kiyoshima's in the high ground. In terms of effectiveness, and there it is. Get Right doesn't even see him. So EnVyUs going to pick up yet another round, and this is starting to look scary. I talked about how they were slow out of the gate. Not to be tonight. They're wide awake, and 2 rounds only for a T-side NiP. That does not bode well. They've got to get rounds right now.
Absolutely, and what that was delicious, sweet, sweet scout redemption for NBK, because he's going to be feeling good after that one, and especially after it didn't result in too much in the end, but losing that round where he's 1 versus 1 against Freiburg, planting the bomb. Well, he's showing that he's right back in this with such a hold. Scout against the push, and another faster affair on middle here from NiP, but this time they are ready for it. This defense is strong right now as they take the lead. EnVyUs holding well. We do have Get Right going through, trying to trade, but it's not happening here for NiP, and that's another round to EnVyUs. I don't know how EnVyUs are pulling out all of these rounds.
It's just early map control. Again, we see a push there mid. NiP trying to take the fight. They lose it. We saw them push long that round with 2 players. Happy went down. NBK was then there. Last round, NBK again pushing out toward long. Every time they're not pushing long, it's either mid or B. They're getting information really early, and NiP's getting caught off guard by a lot of it, or at least out-dueled. Happy's up to 15 kills. Anyone on NiP. In fact, there's only one of the double digits. It's Exist who's on the way. Get Right only has 3, and that's not common, and that doesn't look promising for them. He's got to come alive, and they've got to be aware that EnVyUs are doing this. And again, Shoxy's up close in mid. Kio's there. They're going to go for this boost again. This is, what, the 4th time we've seen it on the CT side?
They're completely relentless with this, and it's good information. Not going to be really punished either. Kiyoshima is on full health, so going to back away fairly safely. He's got teammates to support him as they try to challenge him, and he's just going to pop some heads as he backs away. So very simple stuff. But Freiburg, meanwhile, has found himself the head of NBK. But there is the trade, and all is well here for EnVyUs on the CT. Choc's going to spot the quick movement through vents. And again, as you said, they just can keep understanding how to call the shots. They're getting all that info as the bomb goes towards B. There's already 2 CTs there now.
Get Right needs to hurry up and join Exist, though. He's found 2 kills in middle. That makes it down to a 2-on-2. That's actually a little bit for them. Oh, great play. Exist threw the bomb back up into vents, so he actually got it to Get Right. Get Right's going to run to B. That's beautiful teamwork from NiP. So Smiths might win this battle, but Get Right's gone. He's away with the bomb. He's going to plant it in the open at A because he's got so much time and 5 HP for Smiths. Get Right going to go for this peek, or is he? Sees that nade come out. He knows exactly where he's playing.
And this is going to be an intense affair for Smiths. 5 HP is not much to deal with, and Get Right's more than capable, going to snuff him out. And as you mentioned, Get Right, indeed not with many frags, but actually it's not all that surprising considering the types of rounds NiP have been playing. They've been playing really fast rounds and all rushes or set plays.
He's usually in your clutch position.
And yeah, he doesn't get to play mid-round. There is no mid-round. There's no mid-round. So for him to lurk and take people prisoner. Well, he doesn't take any prisoners. Does Get Right. And again, the fast push, and Get Right's the one to lead that push.
And he's down already as a result. Again, 2 players mid. This time they'll find one. Alu's got the op out. That doesn't bode well for EnVyUs this time as Shox goes down. And now it's NBK to drop in Forest's hands. So they've got a man advantage, but they've still got an op up. Happy's got that one. He's over toward Truck. They'll smoke off top highway, but they haven't committed yet. Is it going to be a vents push, or is it going to be highway? And Exist is falling back toward the vent side. They've actually pulled Smiths off of B, so that's their best bet. And in fact, they're going to go B main. They're not even going to take it from vents.
And they are making their movement there, maneuvering through onto this B split, 4 versus 3. EnVyUs finally looking like they're at a disadvantage, but it's going to be a trade coming in, 2 versus 3. Kiyoshima waiting patiently with that 5-7 over by Heaven, just Sitting, seeing what he can spot. He's spotted 2 players now, going to lay down some fire on a few of them. Gets some excellent damage. Doesn't take much in return. And he's softening them up here as Happy makes his way in with the AWP. All the grenades now being tossed towards Kiyoshima as that bomb is planted. And things are going to be quite laboured here for the remainder of EnVyUs. Now, going to get the flick shot from Ali. He's going to miss. But with those that smoke down, this is going to be really impossible, it would seem, for EnVyUs on the retake. They're just going to chill back, keep the AWP alive, and see what they can do in the next rounds.
And they're firing away through that steel garage because they just want to get one lucky kill on exit. Kiyo's going to take down Freiburg with this 5-7. So he'll grab this AK, or no, he does. What? Okay. He'll fall back at least until the bomb explodes, just far enough to stay safe. That means that NiP's far enough away, so he actually plays it safer. Oh, and the gun got blown right to him. Makes it even easier.
Kiyoshima, man, he knows.
How convenient.
He knows. He knows.
He's a physics master.
He is indeed. It's a 9-4. It almost feels as if NiP should have more rounds, because you look at some of these rounds and the decisiveness that they take middle and some of the entries they're pulling off, getting these early advantages and disrupting Envy. It would appear that they're not disrupting Envy. In fact, they're playing instead into the chaos that Envy seem to thrive in. And there's Happy again with that peek into Squeaky. This time he's not going to go with a push. And the usual hijinks from NiP on middle. Now they're taking it slower this time, messing with the times, but we have a flank all the way from B storage. EnVyUs at it again. We've got Shoxy making his way all the way around the back. Are they going to spot this? This position could be so crucial.
Oh, man, there it is. There's your free speak. That gives it away, so he doesn't get a kill from it. Didn't show any trigger discipline at all. He had a great chance to, and at least just call for his teammates so they could stack onto A if he just followed them in. But Exist is aware and turns around, takes him down. Now they'll smoke off the bottom of Highway. This will hold off NBK, and they're going to head toward B because Kiyo's already gone down to the hands of Freiburg. And at this point, it should be just a clean-up round as Get Right waits for that lurk player, that first rotation player, rather, in NBK. And Happy's going to try and save this up.
So it looks to be the case that NiP are really swinging this back towards the end of the half. And they should, if they're able to, of course, well, they'll pick up this one. They'll get their 5th round here. If they're able to pick up the last one, they should be looking quite good for their CT side and not really under too much pressure. Nothing beyond the norm, at least, for a cash match. And so they do take down Happy in the end as well. So that's a nice little bonus. And we'll have to see now if EnVyUs can stop NiP from getting that 6th one. Now, NiP have managed to get the bomb down in many rounds. We can see quite a lot of defuse victories there and some bomb explosions. So it's not getting the sites that's the problem, it's the cost in which it incurs.
Quick pause just for mic problems. So NiP will fix that up. They've clawed back 5 rounds. This was 2. This didn't look good for a minute. Now they've got 5. I still think they need at least anything less than 6. 6 is still going to be hard for them, in my opinion, but anything less than 6, and this game's going to go the way of EnVyUs. It has to. Statistically speaking, obviously, NiP magic is still a factor. This is still a big game. We're late into a tournament.
I mean, EnVyUs, they have a really solid T side, and I do wonder how much NiP know about kind of the way that EnVyUs want to play Cash now, and especially Cash against them, because EnVyUs are a team that under the leadership of Happy, they do change. They try to change pace quite significantly based on who they play. So at the moment, we're seeing that against NiP, they want to keep the pressure up. I don't know if I've seen them in recent memory be so aggressive on their CT side. Not just one push here on this round, but sometimes they push from 2 or 3 different locations at once for information or for kills. It's happening all over the place. Even when they're playing anti-eco, we saw a counter boost happening. That's actually asking for trouble, but EnVyUs seem to be more than happy to go aggressive and keep the pressure on NiP.
And that's the big thing, because it's not just 1 or 2 rounds here or there. It's every single round, yet NiP haven't found an answer for it. In fact, that has been going over toward that B site. If they can find that early B pick, let them push out from A, let them push mid. We'll just go right in behind them, get a bomb down, and then play for the retake, or at least prevent the retake from EnVyUs, but they're relentless, and it's working so well for them. It's a 2-man push middle with a coverage man over toward B who's close to vents, if not back towards Z Hall already to support them. It's just been really, really, I mean, okay, so let's contrast this. I was going to their French counterpart, Titan, who played a super passive middle with Apex, who was just really good on the rotation. I mean, it's really awesome to see so many different varieties of mid control on this map because it's a very crucial point of the map. And yet again, you want a third style. Fnatic go for the double op setup. They go 1 op A, 1 op B, and 3 mid, and just hold it. They don't really go for the boost too often, but they'll smoke it off and hold it so you at least can't come in, and they'll hold that boost spot. So the second you come over, you're already going to be shot at. And yet again, another style here. I mean, it's very cool. I think Cache it was one of the most unique maps in that way that there's so many different ways to play it. And EnVyUs are playing it quite effectively against NiP right now.
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely playing to a lot of their skill sets, which is the fact that the amount of individual skill on EnVyUs is quite ridiculous. It's something absurd. And the thing that I'm curious, or that's quite a curious little way that they've been playing, is that they are, generally speaking, they only really have been playing an AWP on A so far. They haven't really played much in the way of AWP on B or middle. They've early on in the round, they have, of course, the rifles going in there, but usually you would expect that. Usually you would expect maybe even Shock to pick up the AWP. You could see even Smiths picking it up for middle. They have any number of ways to play multiple AWPs on the CT side of Cache here, but that meta is actually changing a little bit as well. I mean, Titan, you know, they started a long time ago. Back when Cali was still in the game, before he took a vacation, they started that double AWP style on Cache, and it did last for quite a long time in the meta, but that's something that's largely disappeared in recent times, and you don't often see it as much, and I think it's largely to do with the hit on the economy, the risk of it.
Fnatic is scary with it. Very scary with it when they bring it out on this map.
Oh yeah, Olaf Meister.
And I really think that NiP could utilize it now if they wanted to with Alu and Forest. We've seen it come out a few times. Of course, they don't play it the same way that Fnatic does with split bomb sites for the ops. They actually play one still toward that mid connector and try and hold it, and then usually try and get 2 toward A and get more information. Sometimes they'll play a player highway to support the op, but either way, I mean, the big thing for me isn't even the default setup right now from EnVyUs. It's the pushes. It's the way they're getting this information. It's the way they're funneling NiP to one bomb site or the other and not giving up too much of a read and response. So last round of the half will start momentarily. I still see them working on Forrest's computer. 2 admins up there trying to get the headset to work.
Okay, so one funny thing about Fnatic is the way that JW plays like A main is actually so funny, because you would assume that he does actually just have a rifle in his hands, because he just solo pushes it with the AWP, and it just basically blows up entire teams with that kind of a play. And something that we haven't really seen as much from EnVyUs is actually A main takes. Despite all the aggression we're seeing, we've pretty much seen all of it. The only thing we haven't really seen is the A main take, which is kind of the classic way to get aggressive at CTs. It's almost one of the safest ways. You can get a pop flash in there from a teammate, and it gives you, or the guy that's peeking, a very quick and, again, usually the flash is safe for the short ranges. If they don't have an AWP on the long range angle, a very safe peek to see what's going on in there. And if there's no one there, you can even take it and then use that map control to rotate players to middle and B. There's lots of ways to do that kind of aggression, but EnVyUs have done every other sort of aggression, which is just more focused on taking instead of map control, actually taking duels. They actually actively are saying, we want to go aggressive, not for map control or to deny you positioning. We just want to go and fight you to NiP on their CT side. It's actually quite entertaining, I won't lie. I'm enjoying this.
Get Right's already bought into this round, by the way. We should make mention of the gun that he's holding.
The Scar 20, the auto sniper, the blap, blap, blap. The noob gun to some.
Yeah, to some. Saw him get an ace with it on Mirage the other day. Backed by Ticket Booth. We'll see if we can use it to the same effect here.
It is fantastic. It's glorious when it's used in the top level. However, again, in the top level, it's actually quite balanced in the sense that it does obviously quite well in smokes and against rushes, where an AWP would be worse because, of course, you can rattle off all the shots through the smoke. But when you're AWP versus AWP on these kind of AWP battles on the picking kind of game, it's actually not as good, because if you're against an AWP, he can just one-shot you. And, of course, then you lose kind of some of the advantages. That's kind of the natural counter, I suppose.
There's certain angles that works and doesn't work for that matter. And I mean, it's not a one-shot kill unless you like ramp. I would say nuke, awesome. Train used to be really good when you play it out toward Ivy, and you could still see the new connector. It'll be interesting to see when Train comes back into the map pool if it's still effective in that spot. In fact, it was Get Right who used to play it there a lot when you come out, because you're essentially, you have to come out into the same aim spot if you come out Ivy or you come out from that Z Hall. Now with the new connector, it'll be a lot different. But there's certain situations when it works and some that it just does not at all. A main peeking out toward quad could work in this case. Then they get in and hold the site. He'll get back toward truck with it. I don't think it's going to work too well in mid. Not the way that EnVy's playing it against them right now. Maybe B, but it's going to be very interesting to see how they use this because they've been trying to use get right to get into that position in middle after they secure it, after they take the bomb site and catch out the rotation players. So this changes how they're going to have to play him because you can't quite do it with that gun up close when they come around from white box.
Yeah, the weird thing is that it's usually a gun that is much more effective or you'd have more options for on the defensive side when you're playing against smokes, for example, or positions where you can go for wall bangs, or just defensively, it is actually a much better weapon than playing it aggressively. I would say that generally an AWP is going to be much better because usually when you're playing it aggressively, you only get that one shot often to peek, and then before the CT is like backed away from the angle if he's going to get tagged or hasn't killed you already. So it is an interesting choice, and I can't wait to see how he plans to use it. And we are still paused here. We are without a player. So
yeah, it's
just
Forrest.
have to bear with us, guys.
I think Forrest has to reconnect to try and get it to working game.
I can't wait to see how this match develops and what happens on EnVyUs' T side, though. It's just...
Well, that's the thing. What are we going to see from EnVyUs in terms of how they're going to play things? I think we're going to see Smith go for the op a lot. I think we're going to see him try and take this Alu battle at middle. And Alu, this is the other interesting thing. He's only had the op out. He's got it here. He only had it out that one other round. Against Titan, he actually beat Kenny S at middle if way back to the first game that Titan and NiP played yesterday, and they had to respond. That's when we saw Apex head toward middle and Kenny get out of there and just head over toward A because he was getting frustrated. And Alu, if he could get the op out, if they had been able to get it out more in this half, that could have been a big factor because when they were pushing up, yes, they used smokes, but the smokes weren't always out right away. There was actually a bit of a gap sometimes, or even if Alu went for the boost above that smoke and found that early shot, that changes everything for how it's been played. So the economy never really worked for them, and Alu never got to utilize that.
You can see there just how much he's been fragging on your screen right now, and he has been doing so well for NiP, and it's such a pleasure to see some of the comedic moments that come out of them as well, and also just the team chat. It's just absolutely
he's a pretty funny guy.
Brilliant. I just love the dynamic. It's just so special with them, and they seem quite happy as well. So that's a really nice. That's really nice to know that NiP have found somebody that they're happy with, because NiP is such a household name, and it would just be it would kind of suck if we would see this situation where they're constantly replacing their fifth, because I don't know, it would feel so much better now that we can say this is NiP.
They've already said if Alu's happy, then we'll continue with him, because I think they're quite happy with how he fits into the team. His personality seems to match quite well with them.
Absolutely.
Get Right was friendly with Michael Ailey, actually. They seem to get along as well, but Alu seems to fit in a little better with everyone else.
And in the game just as well. It's just that in-game mentality is something.
It's a different style. It's funny how you change someone who's so important as the op player, and it's just one player on a team, but the whole characteristic of certain maps change. Again, Inferno is probably the best example. When Michael Ailey used to go for those crazy peaks, he'd just pop out, and he either looked like a hero or it didn't quite materialize. And now we see Alu, who's a little more passive on that map. It hasn't been as successful because he hasn't found those early picks, but he's alive late in rounds. In fact, you go back to Cash yesterday again, NiP, Alu doesn't peek aggressively on this map too often on the CT side. And in fact, he had a number, I think he had, I want to say 3, but it was probably 2 clutches where he had 2 kills on a retake on A just because he was alive late in the round with that op to come over the top of the smokes. And if he goes down early, he's out of the round. That's a whole different situation, and perhaps Titan would have had those rounds. So it definitely changes the entire complexion of the team again. Obviously, everyone else around him, it's still the same people, but it's also changed the way they're playing because Inferno, Get Right's over toward A. Forrest is now at the B. They've switched that one around. They've been inconsistent with that change, but on Mirage, it's been dead consistent. Get Right's no longer on Cat. He's toward A.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad that they went back to their bread and butter for the VP game, because that's something. Well, I mean, they had a lot of success in the VP game. That was great series for them. So I hope that they stick with it. Again, to me, it's just so classic that, and we get so many classic moments from it, that it's something that I just never want to see go away. The Get Right Frybo combo on Banana, the Forest on the truck. It's just too classic to just be rid of. I mean, I understand these guys do want to mix it up, and. As you said, the Michael Ailey Alu dynamic is an interesting one, and I think one of the things that they feel much better on is that they feel much more like a team with Alu. And I think that's one of the things that's so important for them. I think even if they were struggling a lot more with Alu, let's say the results initially weren't so as nearly as good as they have been, I feel like it's a situation where they would have said, hey, you know what? you fit well with the team, and we feel like a team. We can do great things together, and that's an important factor.
And I mentioned how the personality-wise, he seems to fit in, but you're right, in the play style he does too, because when it was Michael Ailey, it was make or break Michael Ailey. Michael Ailey made a fail moment or missed a number of shots, got taken down early, NiP was playing disadvantaged. If he made a hero play, they played awesome. So there was too much weight on just his performance in individual rounds, whereas where Alu is a little more passive-aggressive, I think that's a good term to describe it. He still goes for picks, but it's not as crazy. He's not as fearless in that regard. It's more calculated. That means he can, you know, there's not as much pressure on his individual play in that round. He just has to be efficient, get one pick, stay alive late, don't give away an advantage, don't give away too much position. And I think that actually works very well with the rest of how NiP's style plays in general. So it's not just a personality thing, or maybe it is. Maybe that's the way the personality translates in real life and how a personality affects the way we play video games as well, because psychologically,
we're getting deep. We're getting deep here, man.
We're going to stop.
Oh my goodness.
This is Counter-Strike Cast. This isn't a psychology.
We're having a psychology lecture here.
Sigmund Freud. We're going to go all in here.
Oh, please no.
Modern
Please
psychology.
no. All right. So
Forrest is back in the server.
Good news.
Here's the interesting thing. He comes back into the server with 3850. He will grab an AK. Okay, so there was an AK already bought when he left, so he picked. Okay, I was going to say, because that's really broke compared to most of his teammates pre-buy, but now, okay, so now I see he'll go for the armor.
All right, so we're going to see what is this auto sniper for? Why have you bought it? Get right. He's going to show us right now. We're going to go back into the match, and as we count down from this freeze time, I am excited. Remember to tweet about this, guys. Tell all of your friends this is the last match of tonight, and what a match it is. Team EnVyUs versus NiP. We are resuming right now. EnVyUs 9-5 against NiP at the moment, but NiP with a little bit of momentum despite the pause, and Get Right with an auto sniper.
And he's heading it toward B. So he wants to get a sight pick, but they've smoked him off already. Oh, but they're going to push. He's got to be so careful. Shoxy, if he comes out at all, that auto sniper is already pre-aimed. Double smoke, though. This delays them even further, and Get Right's going to get impatient with it. He wants to go over top. He's got to be careful, because I think Shoxy's hurt him. And Kiyoshima's inside the vent right beside him. Oh, dinked up through the smoke. Where did that come from? Was that Kiyoshima that shot him? I'm not 100% sure, but Shoxy gets the kill on Get Right regardless. That's the auto sniper down. He'll fall back into the site as a result, and Smiths is also there, so they're in great position to hold off this B. As the Molotov goes out, Exist also finds it was actually team damage. It was Smiths that shot him through the smoke, so Smiths took him down to that 2 HP. Kiyoshima and Smiths, though, making up for it, and Smiths making up for it in a great way, as Forrest is going to drop now as well.
And we have Alu. He is up against the wall right now. He's got a flank incoming. They have boxed him in. He's going to turn back. Oh, the jump dodge from Happy. That is such a happy way to evade an AWP shot. And we are going to see 10-5 on the first half. And well, we saw Get Right's intention there, the pick onto B storage. And I can't help but feel like Shox was kind of saved by Smiths, dinking him in the head through the smoke.
And Get Right look of disappointment, perhaps regretting investing that far into the round. But it was the last round of the first half. It doesn't mean anything. 10-5, we'll swap it over, and Alu be a god. I don't even know what to say on how NiP needs to play this. It's going to come down to how I think EnVyUs is going to set up for more default takes. We never really saw default A take from NiP. We just saw constant mid-aggression and constant battles there. And in fact, every time they tried to set up for that mid-take, EnVyUs just popped over top with the reverse boost and took them down before they could get set up. That said, though, they were never really in a position to throw those default smokes from long.
It was really interesting because with the way that EnVyUs were playing, it created a constant danger that if NiP were to try to set up any set plays or go for any delayed rounds, then EnVyUs would actually find out what was happening too early or pick someone off before something could happen. So there's this, EnVyUs actually took control of the match despite being on the CT half, and you don't see that so often. And well, we are going to go into the pistol round here. We do have what looks to be a push coming in from EnVyUs onto the A bomb site. There's already 3 players here from NiP. Now this is going to be interesting, and quick nade in. Now what can Get Right pull off from the back?
And good shot out from Smiths though, but Get Right's still here, and he's got that 570 pops out, but it's not going to be enough. Smiths with 2. Keo into Get Right. This is falling apart fast for NiP. They've already got the site. The bomb's going to go down now, but watch Happy. He's behind them. He's going to come up in this flank, and they have no idea. There's one, and Alu can't respond fast enough. Happy with 2. Good read from him. Good position, and now it's 11-5 with a pistol second half. It's a little bit out of reach, you might say, for NiP. We'll have to see how much magic they've really got up their sleeves today.
Yeah, I mean, that was an interesting round from EnVyUs because, again, the thing is that NiP have shown in a few different matches, different pistol openers. more often than not, they have been going for the A retake style, and EnVyUs went for that push, and NiP kind of played against that by actually stacking people towards A, maybe assuming that EnVyUs would predict that. And oh my goodness, what is this? Exist sits there completely oblivious and unaffected for a moment before he does go down as they push in, but definitely a nice little gamble there from NiP, but it didn't work out on the pistol. So now as the cleanup of the anti-eco goes the way of EnVyUs, to see what NiP have
They're
up
on
their
low
sleeves.
HP though. Kiyoshima and NBK are very low, but Alu lower as he hits 0. So EnVyUs get away with 3. It could have been a little bit worse there in terms of damage dealt to the T side. They do get away with that 1 AK and the UMP 45 that NBK was holding on to. What else are they going to buy back into with? Here comes the second AK. Smith's AK as well. Okay, so Smith's, I thought, might try and save it up here for one more and then go right to the op as soon as the guns come out, but that's not the choice he's made, and it's pretty much a full save for NiP. Just a 5-7 for Get Right. No smokes, no armor, no defuse kits.
And we are going to get a stack from NiP, and again, I do love the stack.
And it's a pushing stack.
Yeah, it's one of those situations where, hey, you know, if they don't go to our site, well, we'll just go and take the exits and we'll try to box them in, see what kind of damage we can deal, and try to like lock them in onto the plant. So the bomb explosion does the work for us if we cannot do it ourselves. And Alu's saving for an AWP at the moment, so we will. I'm pretty damn sure that we're going to see an AWP on Alu in the next round. So if you are an Alu fan, you are going to see some action in the following round, I should think.
You better hope you see some action.
Yeah, you're right at this point.
They see some action. Forrest didn't see any that time. Or maybe it was the wrong kind of action because NBK puts him down. NBK finally does drop this time. It is Alu that gets him, but Kiyoshima comes around 13-5. But here we go. Gun round's going to be underway. And NiP need an early entry, or at least, pardon me, to stop this early entry. They need to slow this down. Okay, so let's go back to their B-side hold. They play it with double smokes. How much do they really want to invest in this? They've got to get a read before they waste these nades they go ahead and purchase in this round. They're going to have 4 smoke nades out. Alu's not going to have one because he's got the op, but how quickly do they invest and try and use them? There's one at mid, there's 2 at mid, so already 2 gone.
This is that fast take that they've been working on themselves, and it seems that NiP know how to play their same game, doing it on their T sides, but who can do it better at the moment? It looks like it's going to be EnVyUs, and Alu's gone down immediately, and Forrest is the only one ready to respond in recent moments as it goes to a 2-on-2. And NiP not looking so bad here, and they're getting some good damage, but Shoxy just tapping away and will dispatch of Forrest. Now Freiburg must clutch against these 2 players, or NiP, their odds in this first map are going to go down dramatically. As he goes and makes his way in, he has to be careful of the flank, as he's carefully looking for that, does pick up the first kill, and doesn't receive too much damage from it.
That's the key thing. That's exactly what I was going to say, because if he goes down lower than that, it becomes a lot harder in this one-on-one, as it's now 22 versus 34. Freiburg still with the advantage. Make it 33, just eats 1 from the nade. And it's a backside angle for Kiyoshima, but can Freiburg find it quick enough? He's searching fast, he's coming in hasty, and he will get the kill. Kiyoshima goes down, so first gun goes to NiP, and there's still a little bit of fight left for them.
Yeah, that was such a crucial one, but it's going to be such a long haul for them. Now, the next job is to try to establish some economy. We're not going to see enough money for an AWP purchase on Alu, and that's one of the reasons I suppose EnVyUs went for that really fast push with the nades, because they completely blew up the effectiveness of Alu or any teammates to help support Alu, because he got smoked away and the rest of the support players got exposed by the flashes, and as that push kind of barreled into the middle area, you can see now they are trying to just switch things up a little bit. Shoxy creating some presence here for EnVyUs to keep NiP guessing towards that B bomb site. But in the meantime, the rest of his teammates looking for that A push, and this could be devastating for NiP.
NBK gives off the hot potato, so he wants to go for this entry. Happy's working up from Squeaky, but they're already in. NBK's up past the forklift. Get Right's all that's left. They found Forrest. Alu at least gets 1, but he's down and out. Get Right, though, with 2. Effective play from him, and now they've got the man advantage. But Smith's pushed past the site. Smith's actually 180s back on to Get Right. Finally Exist will find him, but those 2 kills completely changed everything as NiP looked like they had it. And Shox cleans up on the round, and it's 2 away from GG. And no money right now for the Ninjas.
Yeah, that's it. That's the reset on their economy now. They've got nothing. They built no money. They didn't win enough in a row. This is the money screw situation. You win one after many taxing rounds, after the full buy, you got no money left, then boom, you lose, your money's reset, your bonus is reset, you get 1,400 again for losing a round, and you're in this position with with nothing. And we can see on the scoreboard, they don't have the rounds to take a situation like this. Just 2 more, and EnVyUs will take down Cash. We have Freiberg trying to do what he can with the Deagle as he falls back now. And over towards Headshot, we are going to need some of that NiP magic right now.
Well, they've got 4 men here. They've rotated it early. The question is, does EnVyUs go on this or not? Nice shot from Freiberg. There's your Deagle out. NBK responding. It's Alu to drop. Significant damage dealt to Shox and Kiyoshima, and if they overstay their welcome, that's the bomb down. They might get caught on this, and this is the NiP magic. As Exist catches NBK and Happy drops to Forest, that bomb still waiting inside the B tunnels, and Exist now going to find out Shoxy as well. It's all on Kiyoshima. 1 on 4, although it might be less because he's already found Freiberg, and Exist is on only 1 HP, so this is still very scary right now for NiP.
Yeah, he can actually pull this one off. They all have Kevlar though, so Get Right the only one with really any health, unfortunately, but the aim punch not a factor as Kiyoshima tries to save this round, and he absolutely can pull it off. We have one player coming in from the bank, so Kiyoshima, he's going to be spotted in there. That's the moment for Exist to go in, but Kiyoshima does take him down, but that's just enough of a distraction for Get Right to pick up the kill, and the important part actually is that Kiyoshima did actually kill 2 extra players there. So instead of surviving with 4, they only are able to pick up 2 weapons, and that is a really, really big deal.
But I like what Exist did because he had 1 HP. It best be him if someone's going to go down. He pulls Shoxy back away, and that gives the 5-7 versus the AK battle to Get Right. So he actually baited himself out to give him the round, and right now it doesn't matter. You just need rounds. Sure, economy's not here. Win 1 more, it'll start to come to you, and they have the advantage in this round, as we can see. Tech9's out with the 1 AK for Kiyoshima. Get Right's already found 1, and Smith's on the way into A. He's going to have to find more. Alu's got 1 to add to it as Get Right now finds Kiyoshima as well. It's all falling apart for EnVyUs, of course. Not a lot of weaponry to work with, but still Tech9's worthy to note as Get Right now has the hat trick. Happy's found a way all the way down middle, though, but Exist doesn't want him to go any further.
It is always such a pleasure to see Get Right's spray, trying to spray down that guy. Only his head is visible at a mid-range, and he's going full spray, and he still gets it because his spray control is so good. And that's the style of play that he takes, and it's not the kind of style. I don't know if there's anyone else that uses it to the extent that he does on the top level, so it makes him quite a character to watch, quite special in that sense. But we're going to have the Tech9s coming in now from EnVyUs as they are forced to go with a little bit of a save and as they build up that money. And crucial again for NiP to build that money so they can start getting the AWPs going for themselves, and they can take a few losses whilst they win these rounds, and EnVyUs aren't able to break them in that sense. So just Shox and Happy left in this one now, and they are going to be able to slowly but surely eliminate the remaining French players. Happy now alone with that Tech9, and he can actually just sit here and try to kill time and just try to prey upon any curious Swedish players or the Finn, of course, Alu. And he's going to run out of patience and just go for it, which is probably better. I don't think he's going to beat Get Right in that battle of patience.
And we talked about how last round they lost 1 extra player. I thought it was a worthy bait, but now they stay alive with 5. This builds their economy back up. So not a life lost. Freiberg picks up the AK. Interestingly enough, they're not going to get Alu that op. They're going to leave him on the rifle. They're up against 5 AKs, so no snipers in this round. Smoke out in mid. 3 players there early on from NiP, but Alu's going to rotate back up highway, or is he? He's actually pulled back down because of a flashbang that was thrown over. As Happy comes out towards Squeaky. EnVyUs. Oh, Shoxy's inside this smoke, and he can't just Get Right trying to come through. As he doesn't have the vision until he's all the way out of the smoke. They'll re-smoke off A main as a result, just to not let them push any further, but they're going to have to play extra efficient as Alu's going to support Forrest. Exist is in mid, and that leaves Freiberg all the way over at B all by his lonesome.
Yeah, much slower pace round here from EnVyUs, holding back a little bit, trying to see if NiP would actually mix it up themselves, because they haven't actually had much of a chance to go aggressive. This would be kind of a nice round for them to mix that in, but EnVyUs, with this slower pace, would actually catch that if NiP were to do that. So quite nice that NiP is still just playing it passively and reactively. But here we go, the middle push coming in. They want to get potentially a split onto... Actually, either side is possible at the moment with the setup they have. They've got a man on B storage, A main, bomb is still in middle, so still making a call. And there it is, that mid-round call coming in from Happy. Let's go for the B split hit. Here it is, 3 versus 5 for NiP. They're down against it all, and smoke is going to block off Alu's vision, and that's going to prevent him from really doing anything. And so it's going to have to be there's nothing he can do here. He just got to go for the save already. You can see that Forrest is just sitting back there like, well.
Yeah, he never even rotated.
Just going to watch.
He made the decision early. 5-on-2, he wasn't at the site. There's no point. It's essentially going to be a 5-on-1 if Alu tries to go for it, or he has to wait so long, it's not going to work. So they'll look for exits, but Envy's hunting them. They want guns out of their hands. Forrest at least will get MBK. He'll actually find Smiths as well, so they're not going to drop easily. And EnVyUs is actually going to lose weapons, and they didn't have a lot of economy. Okay, there you go. Both down, so they win that exchange. And now we're on match point for Team EnVyUs in map number 1 on Cash. Winner goes on to tomorrow's grand final. Loser books a date with TSM in the lower bracket final to see who's going to play off for that. But both of these teams would quite obviously like to take the easier route.
I mean, Taz said, you know, this is going to basically decide the final for these two teams. And I don't doubt the wisdom of Taz. Going to see that the full buy was possible for NiP, having won 3 rounds in a row, and some of them fairly clean before the catastrophe that was the last round for them. And that's going to mean Alu's on that AWP. It's not been so useful in his hands, as EnVyUs have found many rounds which have allowed them ways to actually neutralize the AWP, either through fast pushes or smokes. And here we go, another fast push into the A bomb site. Shoxy going straight in, deep into the bomb site, wrapping around. Now, can he find any good angles? There's still yet to be a single kill. NiP has so much patience, slowly moving in for the retake, but the bomb hasn't moved in just yet. This is a very curious start to this one, as Shox goes out, and NiP have their crosshairs on every angle. Happy, though, gets the trade onto Forest as they try to go for the plant. Alu not hitting the shots he has to hit. Finally there, will connect. And there you go, 3 versus 3 now.
And that's the play from Alu, staying alive. This gives him a chance for that retake. Exact same situation we saw yesterday, but now he's down. Kiyoshima's not going to let him get any more. And that might just be the nail in the coffin, but it comes back to a 2-on-2 because Exist actually does find Smith, but Kiyoshima far too much in the end, and it's going to be 16-9, map number 1. And again, T-side, NiP didn't really get much at all and couldn't find anything on the CT.